Hey everyone, Shaedow here, and welcome to another Marvel Contest of Champions video. So as you can see there, I have the 3 timestamps for the boss fights. That's for those of you who came here just to see those boss fights. Make it a little easier for you to go ahead and skip right on to it. I included all of the fights for a couple of reasons. One, it's easier to get this out quicker because I don't have to edit everything. I can just go ahead and let you guys see how I progressed. Very similar to what it would look like if I did a live stream, just unedited, raw. I did edit just a little bit, but not much at all. But I chose the easiest paths for each of the quests. So the second reason is so that those of you who are trying to do an initial completion can see the paths that I chose and choose those for an easy completion time. So those are the 2 main reasons that I included all of the fights and all of the footage in this video. But on the easy paths, they don't have any boosts. So you fight them just like you would fight them anywhere else. So if you want to see how I handle certain fights, you can go ahead and watch all of them. But if you're just interested in the boss fight, you have the timestamps. I'm also going to make a comment and I'll pin it so that you guys have it there. You can just click on the timestamp and go straight to that portion of the video. Alright, so I'm not going to narrate all of the regular fights because they're very easy, very straightforward. There was nothing tricky about them. But I will narrate each of the boss fights so that you guys can kind of hear what I was thinking, my experience with this boss, and who I think might make really good counters for that boss, and some of the strategies that you are going to want to use when you're fighting that boss. Okay, so I'll pick up this narrative once again on the boss fight. Alright, so we've come to the final boss, and it is Heimdall, a new champion coming to the contest, and I'm excited about that. We're going to take a look at the active buffs so that you guys are prepared when you face him. Cosmic Wrath means he's going to get Fury for the entire fight. Rage, you want to be careful. If you bring in a champion that does a lot of damage, he will go unblockable very quickly, and then you'll have to fight him stun immune style. Power Start 2 means he's going to start the fight with 2 bars of power. You're going to want to block his special 2. Do not try to evade it. It's not worth it. But you can. I recommend just blocking it. Much safer. Alright, so that's what you're going to see me do. In the beginning, you see he has 2 bars of power, and you'll see that I'm just backing off, and there he goes. He fires that off, and I block it. And you see it didn't do that much damage. So it's not really worth trying to evade this. So from this point on, all I'm doing is baiting out his special 1. And that is what you want to do regardless of who you choose for this fight. You want to block that special 2 initially, and then bait out that special 1, wash, rinse, and repeat. Now, when I first saw this fight, I saw all of these buffs, and 3 champions immediately came to my mind. Voodoo, Ronin, and Magic. You can see how Voodoo handles things. He can convert to poisons, so he's a good option. Ronin needs to be awakened, but when he is awakened, because of all of these buffs, he can stun lock his opponent. Magic does a lot more damage on her L3 when they have a lot of buffs. So depending on the level that you have your Magic, she won't take many L3s to get him down. If you have Magic at a high, 5-star, rank 4, I think it takes her maybe 3 L3s to get him down. I could be wrong on that. Leave a comment below if you've gone up against him with Magic. Alright, and that is the Heimdall fight. Voodoo, he was my highest option. I did not have an awakened Ronin to use for this fight, or at least that I wanted to bring to this fight. Voodoo being a rank 4 5-star, that made it a no-brainer. Alright, on to the next chapter, and once again I went ahead and chose what I consider to be the easiest path. I scouted ahead a little bit, and as you can see there, they don't have any special nodes on them, just some boosts like power boost and health or something like that. I didn't even bother to look. So there's nothing special about fighting these guys. They have more health, more attack. That's about it. So the way that you fight them is going to be exactly the same as you're going to fight them anywhere else. Alright, so I will take up the narrative once again when we get to the boss. Hopefully this will help those of you who are just looking to get a completion done, see which path I chose so that you can have an easier time at completing this. Alright, so we're at the final boss here, and it's this Adaptoid. I've heard so many horror stories about those fighting him, and I had a little bit of difficulty because he was new. Alright, so look at his active buffs. Vigor means he's going to get a periodic regen. Kinetic Reactor means don't hit him while he's blocking. Unblockable Finale, towards the end of the fight, you're going to have to either intercept a lot or use a champion that has damage over time and play keep away. And he has an unblockable special 1. So I go into this fight first with Starkey because I saw that unblockable special 1, but this is my practice. I want to learn his animations because I still don't know really anything about him besides what I've read. Okay, so I'm sitting here just trying to build up the poise charges. I was ready for that special 1, but I was not ready for him to go unstoppable. And the second time was just muscle memory. So I'm like, okay, well, he's going to go unstoppable this time. So I evaded, I waited it out, but then I got caught. That was just me being unfamiliar with the fight. Starkey could easily have taken this guy down. And when I'm doing this full exploration, I'm going to bring in the same team, and I will go ahead and take him out with Starkey. I promise you. Alright, so next up, I'm still trying to get used to him, but I think I have his animations down. You know, he's Iron Man for the most part, with unstoppable after his specials. Alright, so I'm ready here. So I evaded that one, and then he hit me again, back-to-back special 1s. I was not ready for that one. I thought I had known and saw all of his tricks, but he caught me with that one. So I'm just like, okay, I see. So I should have all of his tricks now. I don't know whether he has another one to pull it out, but I believe at this point I've seen everything that he is going to do. So I bring in my Hyperion, who I know is going to put a hurting on him pretty quickly regardless. Now, I don't know if I'm going to take him out, but I know that I'm going to hurt him. And I brought in Void for this fight because of that Vigor. He is the one that I plan to really take this guy out with. But what I normally do when I'm facing a new champion is I'll go through all of my roster earlier on to get a feel for their animations, get used to them, and to wear them down a little bit. That's just my style. If you've seen any of my videos, you'll see that I do that anytime I think that the champion is going to be a little bit difficult. Now, if they're pretty easy, like Heimdall was pretty easy, I didn't need to do any of that. And sometimes I'll choose a champion that I don't think is going to take him down, and I take him down anyway. But this Adaptoid was pretty challenging, and you want to get used to his animations and the style. You want to fight a little slower than normal. Now, my Hyperion here is doing very well. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I should be able to pretty much take him down. Hyperion can out-damage that regen pretty easily. So I'm sitting here, you see his L2, but he caught me with that L1 because it dropped my input. Now, the other times, it was all me. But I saw the L2 and I evaded that, no problem. I saw that he still had a bar of power, and so I said, all right. And I walked to bait that out, as you saw, and he just never went back. He never evaded. It never registered my evade. I'm like, okay. So now I'm coming in here with Archangel. Now I chose Archangel because I just wanted to work out any of the kinks after that happened, because Archangel is not a good option for this fight. Do not bring Archangel for this fight. The reason you don't want to bring Archangel to this fight is because the Adaptoid is bleed immune. That means that Archangel is gimped hard for this fight. There will not be any neurotoxins. None of the damage that he is known for is going to happen here. And because of the vigor, your opponent is going to be regenning. You see that health being regened up there. He has more health now than he did when I started this fight. And when I saw that, I said, okay, I'm not going to be able to out damage that regen by any means, so let's end this fight, let's stop it, and just come in with somebody else. Because what I saw there was the Adaptoid starting to go all the way back up to full. So you see here, I just went ahead and quit out of the fight, because all that was going to happen was he was going to get all the way back up to full health. So now I bring in Void. 4-star Void. I forget what signature level I have him at, but anybody that has any type of regen, Void just destroys. Okay, so all that I'm doing with Void here is spamming his L1 and letting the debuffs go ahead and do their work, letting the Fear of the Void go ahead and do its work. You'll see that it reverses the healing, so he's taking all of that healing in damage. Just look at those damage numbers. It's a constant damage. So all I needed to do here is evade that special 1, evade the special 2 if I pushed him to his special 2, spam the L1, and what you'll see when he gets down to the unblockable finale level, instead of trying to do too many intercepts, I just played keep away and let the damage over time do its work. Alright, so he's about to hit 25%, there it goes, and so now he is unblockable. But he's only unblockable as long as he stays below 25% health. And he does get a heal, so if you guys need to, you can let him heal back up over 25% and he'll no longer be unblockable, and then you can basically reset your strategy. But as you see there, all I'm doing is playing keep away, and I hit into his block so that he doesn't back me into a corner. So I'm just backing him up by hitting into his block. He doesn't have anything that will hurt me, and you saw there I actually did a little intercept because I knew he was almost dead. And that is the Adaptoid down. He was much more difficult than Heimdall, I'll tell you that. But that is how I was able to take him out. So, as you saw, Void was a very good counter for this Adaptoid, but Hyperion could have taken him down, Starkey could have taken him down. I actually had Voodoo in here as well, but Void was able to take him out no problem. But I think Voodoo also would have been a good counter. Really, it's that last bit of health, that last 25%, where you're going to have to fight in a different style that you might not be used to. If you're used to doing a lot of intercepts, fighting stun immune style, then you're not going to have a problem with that final one. Just don't try to parry him, play keep away, hit into the block, bait out the specials. That's really all that you're going to be able to do in the final 25% health. Alright, so we're into the next chapter, and once again, I show you guys the easiest path, at least the easiest path I believe is the easiest path, so that when you guys do your completion, you should have an easier time if you just follow the path that I chose. They didn't have any crazy boosts or anything like that, so you should have not too much of a problem. Fighting these guys, as I've mentioned before, is the same as fighting them anywhere else in the contest because they're not doing anything special. I love fighting Howard the Duck with Voodoo, but I actually messed up here. I wasn't paying attention because I would have fired off his L1 and gotten this fight done much quicker, but I wasn't paying attention. I didn't do that, and so the fight went on a little bit longer than it should have. But anyway, I will pick up the narrative again when we face Red Skull. Alright, so we're at the final boss. It is Red Skull. He is the final boss for Uncollected mode. You can see the active buffs that he has on him. The ones that I think you need to be aware of are defensive, immune to bleed, explosive personality, and a special 2 bias that cannot be blocked. So him being defensive along with a special 2 bias means that he is going to be very reluctant to throw his special 1. So baiting that out is going to take more time. The fact that he's immune to bleed means that Archangel isn't the best option for this fight. And explosive personality means you do not want to hit into him while he is blocking. So as I mentioned before, what I try to do is I'll go in with champions that I don't really think are going to take him out to get used to his animations. So of course I chose Archangel because of the bleed immunity. He's not a good option for this fight anyway. There's no way that I would even try to do the entire fight. I'm sure it's possible if you just continually bait it out, but it would be so long and I would have already fallen asleep and got wrecked. So I'm just at this point trying to get used to his animations and baiting out and evading that L1. And as you see there, I really did need the practice. Did not do too well there, but I learned. I learned a little bit more about his animations, and I got a better feel for dodging that L1. Alright, so next in is Hyperion. And like I said, I figure Hyperion is going to hurt him no matter what. And it'll also give me a chance to get used to his animations as well. So, of course, with Hyperion, you want to stack up those Furies. Since he is not stun immune, this Red Skull is not stun immune, it's very easy to stun him, get that parry off to build up Hyperion's Furies, and just start doing some damage. Now, I got really close to that special 2 there, and so I had to bait it out, and I actually made a mistake here. I got him to his special 2, I saw that it was too late, so I just said, let me just see how much damage I could do here. I had gotten that stun, I was hoping for a stun here, got a stun again, just kept going. I wasn't getting enough power, just barely was short of getting another L2, and I hit into his block, and you see why you do not want to hit into his block. Not just the explosive personality, but he does a lot of shock damage when you do. So I basically killed myself. But that was actually a very good object lesson for you guys. So next up was Starkey. Now again, I brought in Voodoo and Magic. Those are the 2 that I am holding in reserve that I think are going to be very good for taking out Red Skull. So I have them as my backup. But Starkey is a beast. So I'm building up these poise charges, and I'm thinking I just want to do as much damage as possible. And Starkey may in fact be able to handle that special 2, but I didn't want to try it unless I messed up and made a mistake. But look at that damage that he's able to do, and the taunt means that I should have an easier time baiting out that special 1. But look at this, it seems like I'm still having trouble. That defensive and that special 2 bias combination means I spent a lot of time just trying to get him to throw that special 1. Finally, he threw the special 1. But he's right back up to it again, but he threw it right away. So I was happy that taunt was doing its work. So at about this time, I remembered that Starkey has some power control. Take that. Look at him backing up, scared. Didn't do him any good. But that's going to do it, guys. That's Uncollected mode. If you enjoyed the video, please consider smashing that like button. Really helps me out. If you have not subscribed to the channel already, please consider giving me a subscription. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought about this video. How was your experience with Uncollected mode? If you would like to support this channel, there's a link in my description to my Patreon account, and you can become a patron of this channel. Look at that T5 basic. Lovely. And you guys have a blessed day.